Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. If this is the first time we're meeting, my name is Oliver and on this channel we talk about education and early career development here in Finland. And during these weekly live Q&A sessions, I answer your most burning questions about living, studying and working in Finland. And how these live streams actually work is that in the description box below, so if you go below the video into the description box, there is a Google form that is linked in the description box below. And if you want me to answer any of your questions about studying, living or working in Finland live, please go to the Google form and post your question there. The reason for this is that by doing this, I will have all the questions here in front of me on the computer, and that guarantees that I will be able to answer everyone's questions in the in a first come first served basis, meaning that I will answer questions as they are coming in. If you post your question into the live chat during these live streams, it is highly likely that I will miss your question because the chat gets pretty busy at times. Also, just let you know that every single week I start with questions from that were left over from last week. So I still have a couple of them here. But if you want to have your question answered this week, you still have a great chance of making it this week if you post your question right now. Also, before we start with the actual questions, I just wanted to let everyone know, if you for some reason are not a member of our Discord server, I highly recommend that you consider joining. There's a link in the description box below as well. And the idea of the server is to build a community of people who want to study and work in Finland. And on the server, we basically have a chat about studying, living and working in Finland. And I post updates about upcoming videos and live streams like this one. Cool. Jet Gotti, what's up, dude? Awesome to have you here as well. You were actually the first one in the stream. Awesome. Mixerek, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Ayush, welcome as well. Guys, if you have any questions, as mentioned, please post your questions into the Google form, and I will jump into the form, starting with a couple of questions that were left over from last week. Also, if for some reason my audio is too low or too high, just let me know in the chat, and I will adjust the audio so that I don't blow your eardrums. Cool. Vimotion Monty, what's up? Good day to you as well. Hopefully you're doing fine. And by the way, hopefully everyone is staying safe and healthy. Levon Lopez, welcome to the stream as well. Cool. Let's jump right into the questions. So a couple of questions from last week. The first one coming from Nohemi, who comes from France. And Nohemi has not yet decided whether or not she wants to study in Finland. However, she is considering the universities of Tampere as well as Jyväskylä. And she's planning on doing a master's in biology and specifically in environmental sciences. Yes, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Awesome to have you here as well. The question from Nohemi is, how is having taken gap years viewed prior to studying in Finland? Is it possible to apply for a master's? So basically, how are gap years considered in Finland when you apply to study in the university? Basically, they don't matter at all. Well, I'm sure that if you are basically an identical, if there are two completely identical applicants who are basically clones of each other, but the other one has taken a gap year, then you might, prioritize the person who has not taken a gap year. But as a general rule of thumb, gap years have absolutely no impact on your application, especially if you have been working. That's plus minus zero, so basically nothing to talk here. Actually talking a bit more about this, because there's nothing else to say here in terms of the university applications. Gap years in Finland are actually not looked at that negatively compared to, for example, many other countries. Many high school students in Finland are actually encouraged to actually take a gap year before they apply for their studies. For example, if they want to volunteer abroad, if they want to travel abroad, or if they simply want to work. So it is completely common for Finnish students as well to take a gap year after high school or even after bachelor's. So I would not worry about this at all. Nathan, what's up? Welcome to the stream as well. Ayush, clapping hands. What? That's awesome. Ia saying that I missed the last stream. Don't worry about it. You can actually watch it on replay if you want to. There were actually quite a lot of really interesting questions that were answered during that stream as well. Anyway, the next question, also from last week, comes from Rohan. And Rohan is from India and is applying... He's starting school this semester, awesome, at the University of Eastern Finland, doing a master's in economics and business administration, specifically majoring in tourism marketing and management. Nice. And the question is, do non-European Union students need to have a bachelor's degree that is equivalent to 180 ECTS credits in total for admission in order to apply for a master's program in Finland? That is a really good question. So basically what Rohan is referring to here is that when you apply to study in Finland as an international student, if you already have a bachelor's degree, you basically need to fulfill specific requirements in order to be eligible to actually apply to study in Finland. And one of those requirements is to have a prior university degree, which makes you eligible to apply for a master's degree in your home country. So this is actually where the credits don't matter that much. So Rohan is specifically asking whether his bachelor's degree have to be equivalent to exactly 180 credits, ACTS credits, which is the credit system that we use in Finland, in order to apply for a master's in Finland. My understanding is that you do not have to do this. You don't have to have an exact, equivalency. However, your bachelor's degree has to make you eligible for yourself to apply for a master's in your home country. This is at least how I think every single university in Finland formulates this when this is talked about on their websites. The reason for why it doesn't have to be exactly 180 credits is most likely because the university systems or school systems around the world are quite different, and we would be limiting ourselves we would be limiting ourselves, or Finnish universities would be limiting themselves in what kind of students they allow to apply there. So I don't know if this makes any sense, but in my understanding, no, you do not have to have a bachelor's degree equivalent to exactly 180 credits, as long as it makes you eligible to apply for a master's in your home country. Let's see we actually have more people in the stream. Nathan, first of all, Nathan, thank you very much for asking. I'm actually doing quite well. You're saying that you're in the hospital here. It's so boring. Oh, that's really, really sad to hear. Hopefully you're fine. Hopefully that's nothing serious. Well, at least you're able to watch the stream live, so I hope that there's nothing serious happening there. Best wishes, and hopefully you're getting better as soon as possible. Yevgenia saying hi. What's up, Yevgenia? Welcome to the stream. Jet Gotti saying congratulations, Oliver, for 6,000 plus subscribers. Thank you so much. That's kind of cool. It's a kind of a cool milestone. However, actually, I think even better of a milestone is actually having more people in these live streams, because the subscriber numbers actually don't nowadays tell us that much, about the engagement in our videos. But still, thank you so much. I do appreciate it. Let's see. We have Harry. What's up? Welcome back to the stream. Have a nice day. Thank you. I will. Hopefully you're having an awesome day as well. Evie, what's up? Welcome back to the stream. Hopefully the last one gave you some value. And again, if you have any great questions like what you had last week, please post them in the Google form below. I think you had some really, really good questions last week, so I'd love to contribute if it's possible. MD Sakil Khan saying, how is YAMK University and part-time jobs there? That's a good question. I don't have any experience of YAMK, the University of Applied Sciences myself, so cannot say anything about it right now. Also, how is the part-time job situation in Joensuu or at YAMK, the city where YAMK is? Cannot say. I'm not from there, so it's impossible for me to say. Finland is a big country, unfortunately. Sofian, what's up? Welcome to the stream as well. Awesome to have all the regulars on the channel visiting the streams. Anyways, let's move on to the next question in the form, which comes from Matthias. Again, who comes from Denmark, was really active last week. And Matthias is Matthias is starting school this semester, doing a bachelor's in, I think it was in economics, if I remember correctly. All right, so the question actually refers to something that I already answered last week. Matthias saying, gotcha, with the master subject, thank you. You talked about long-term factors. I am now 22. Do you think I'm too old to start my studies? I know, for example, you are older. Yeah, I'm turning 30 this year. But I don't have any reason why I did not apply before. So this actually goes back to the earlier question or the first question in the stream. So basically about having a gap year or applying to study at a university a bit older. Absolutely no difference, doesn't have any kind of impact. There's no age discrimination. Actually, I started school with a couple of friends of mine who are 5 to almost 10 years older than me. So there's one guy who started school when he was 30. He's now closer to 40. And then we actually had someone who started school when he was 35. One of them actually came back to school. He had already done a degree prior, 10 years ago, but he wanted to do a higher degree, so he came back to school. The other guy actually had was working in a completely different field, so he was actually working in the restaurant industry, and he wanted to do a degree in business, so he applied to study business. In addition, I, for example, have a good friend who's from Iran, Iran, that's so American, Iran, and he's much older than me. So absolutely no difference in what age you are. It doesn't have anything to do with academics and doing a degree. Of course, it is always better if you have accumulated some work experience so that you don't have like years where you haven't done anything. However, take into account traveling, volunteering, all of this kind of stuff is always good. So that doesn't count as anything. However, if you have just been sitting on your butt for 2 years without even trying to apply for a school, to a school or for work, then that might be a bit of an issue when you apply for work a bit later. However, in terms of applying for school, not a problem at all. Actually, Yevgenia is saying a really good point here. I'm 40 and I'm going to apply in a couple of years. Exactly. Thanks for the really good comment. Cool. Actually, Yevgenia and Jet, as well as every other regular, I'm going to dive into the questions here. So if you can please guide any new people in the stream about the Google form. If you notice that people start writing questions into the chat, that would help a lot because I'm not able to answer the questions and read the chat at the same time. So cool. All right, the next question comes from Mihret, who comes from Ethiopia. And Mihret is applying to study a bachelor's in nursing next year. And Mihret is saying, hi, I'm Mihret, married to a Finnish guy, living there since the last 3 months. All right, cool. I want to study nursing. Previously, I have a master's degree from Holland in environmental science, and I was working in Ethiopia. I now want to study nursing in English. My questions: first, where is the best nursing school in English in Finland? And second, does a bachelor's in nursing in English language help me get a job in Finland? P.S. My Finnish course has not yet started, but I'm just training using Duolingo. A great tool, by the way, if anyone wants to try Duolingo to learn Finnish, that's highly recommended. Not sponsored, by the way. I think it's a good tool to use. Okay, so 2 questions basically here. So first question was, what is the best school for studying nursing in English? Tough question. I think there's multiple good schools. For example, if I just, I actually need to cheat a bit, so just bear with me for just a moment. Basically, before I find the rest, the first school that I would recommend is Metropolia, Metropolia University of Applied Sciences, which is in the Helsinki region, which is really, really cool. Then the second one I would actually recommend for nursing specifically is SAMK, so Saame University of Applied Sciences. The reason is that these schools have really good English language programs. There are also other schools as well. However, the one thing that you really need to take into account if you apply to study nursing is that some of the schools do have a Finnish language requirement when you apply to study nursing. So please take that into account. So some schools require you to speak at least B1 level Finnish before you even apply. However, Metropolia and SAMK both have programs that do not require you to know Finnish prior, as I've understood it. It might have changed since I last checked, but just take this into account. So Metropolia and SAMK are really good. So SMAK. I'm sorry, Yevgeny actually saying that's true. It's in the city of Pori. That is very true. So SAMK is in Pori. That's very true. Cool. The second question was, does a bachelor's in nursing in English language help me to get a job in Finland? Well, absolutely. We have a huge deficit, meaning we have a huge need of nurses. So basically, if you graduate as a nurse and you're able to get certified as a nurse, that, for example, requires you to speak good enough Finnish for you to get a license, you will be able to work as much as you want because we have such a huge need for qualified nurses in Finland right now. However, I would say this in your case. Again, as a reminder, Mihret said that she had a master's degree from Holland in environmental sciences. If you don't, unless you specifically want to study nursing because you're interested in it, I would actually recommend you to check out different jobs for environmental scientists, because unless you didn't know this before, Finland is actually one of the leading countries in the world in different environmental technologies, for example. And having a master's in environmental sciences can actually be a big benefit for you. So if that is a field you actually like and want to work in, and you're kind of using nursing only as a plan B, I would actually discard the plan B and try to apply for jobs in environmental sciences, because with a master's degree in these kind of fields, you actually get paid way more compared to having a degree in nursing. So unless you specifically want to work in nursing because that's something that you love, that's fine. I'm sorry, then I would actually look into the environmental sciences as a career option. Cool. All right. The next question comes from Ki Chung Tong, who comes from Hong Kong. By the way, I hope that I pronounced your name correctly. Ki Chung Tong. Ki Chun has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in doing a bachelor's in computer sciences at Aalto University. And cool. A couple of questions here. First, would you consider interviewing some of the more interesting student clubs in Aalto University when the situation gets better with COVID? I think one of the reasons why Finland appeals to me is the variety of student activities available and its overall welcoming atmosphere when compared to, e.g., Netherlands, Germany, and Switzerland. So I won't comment on the different other countries because I have no prior experience from there myself. But if you feel this way, of course, that's the way it is. Yeah, I've been actually thinking about doing more videos about student activities and clubs. But the problem with interviewing people from specific clubs in a specific school is that there's only a limited amount of people who are interested in, for example, the Aalto shooting school club or Aalto horseback riding club. So I think those are two niche subjects for me to publish on the channel. However, I think that, for example, if the channel members for whom I make actually behind the scene videos and other kind of members only videos, if enough channel members request me to make such videos, I actually might do them in the future. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you actually are getting value out of the videos and the content on the channel in general, I would really appreciate it if you guys consider joining as a channel member. You can do this by clicking the join button below the video, I think right there. Or if you go into the YouTube channel itself, you can find the join button on the top right corner. And you can see the different perks that come with through being a member. But yeah, I think that's a really good, interesting idea. I will keep it in my mind, but I think it's currently too narrow of a topic for a lot of people to enjoy. The second question was also, I would like to know whether becoming an exchange student to somewhere else would affect subsequent permanent residence applications. For example, if I try to write my master's thesis in Switzerland for 1 year, that 1 year probably won't count towards a residency. How about 6 months or 3 months? Not necessarily something that you know, but it will certainly help me if you know someone with such experience. So if I understood the question correctly, you asked basically whether it helps you to get a residence permit in Finland if you have already been a temporary residence in another European country. No, it doesn't. You basically have to apply for a residence permit in Finland separately. And for example, in terms of permanent residency, you need to live in Finland permanently, and living abroad in other European countries do not count towards that time. So yeah. Cool. All right, let's actually jump back into the chat really quickly to check out some of the comments. So Julian Howard Baker is asking, are there many opportunities for part-time work for non-Finnish speakers at Aalto University? So at Aalto University, as the university, there are some part-time work, for example, course assistants or faculty assistants. However, there are only a few number of those spots. Sometimes the universities themselves also hire people for bachelor's thesis workers or master's thesis workers. However, the universities themselves do not hire that many people. In terms of part-time work as a student, the university itself doesn't, if you're looking for a job outside the university, in that case, the university in itself does not impact your chances of getting a part-time job at all. Well, sometimes yes, but most likely not. However, rather, I would say that the city that you live in has more impact on whether or not you're able to find a part-time job, because the smaller the city, the less likely it is that there are a lot of part-time jobs that you can do without speaking Finnish. So for example, if you live in the Helsinki capital region, then there are plenty of jobs. This time with COVID is different, of course. However, if you live in a smaller town, for example, in central Finland, of course, there's less people there, less businesses there. So there's less, companies that can hire people who do not speak Finnish. Michael Tapiwanashe Kumbo saying, terve, mitä kuuluu? Hi, what's up? I'm actually doing well, thank you so much. Mitä kuuluu is how you doing in Finnish. Mustakin Sheikh asking, could you please tell me about application deadlines? Depending on what application deadlines you are actually talking about. All right, actually, I want to apply for my bachelor's. Could you please tell me about the deadlines? The bachelor's applications for English taught programs is in January, so you need to apply next January. There's unless you want to apply already during this year, then in that case you can use a service called Edunation. So just Google Edunation or go to edunation.co, not com, but co. And those guys can actually help you apply to a Finnish school even outside of the normal application period, which for bachelor's degrees only happen in January. Finnish people are so kind. Thank you so much, Nathan. That's very nice of you. And actually, Jet Gotti with a super chat or super sticker. Thank you so much. That's awesome ADHD smiley. I think I can actually do it. No, this way. Is that close enough? Thank you so much for the super sticker. That's highly appreciated, as always. I do love it. Thank you. Let's see. Marina Carengato Garcia saying, hello, Oliver and everybody. What's up, Marina? Welcome to the stream. Awesome to have you here as well. And Let's see. Amin Jadad asking, can native people be racist around Arabs and Africans? I don't think that people or Finnish people necessarily. I don't think that Finnish people are necessarily racist towards a specific group of people. Although also I actually don't think that Finnish people are in general racist. I think that a lot of people use the term. What is the term? There's a different term for basically not necessarily being that open towards people from who come from abroad. If you guys can help me in the chat, but not racist in a sense. But yeah, of course there are some people. Every country has stupid people who are racist and discriminatory. However, I would say that Finland is a very international country, and especially if you're living in the bigger cities and not in the countryside, people are extremely welcoming for international people. Yevgenia saying Samk has a nursing degree in English. That is true. That is very much true. And Jet Koti is actually answering the question from Mustakin, saying the joint application, which is the main application period, has already ended, but there are some universities with separate application periods, or you could also apply through education. Very much correct. Amin saying, I want to study structural engineering. Can you recommend? Aalto University is a great school for that. Definitely recommended. # not sponsored. Ser O asking, is any restrictions to enter as a tourist to Finland even for EU citizens during the COVID season? Yes, there are restrictions on traveling to Finland even for EU citizens. Yes, you can find the current information, and this actually applies to every single one of you. Everyone who wants to travel, everyone who wants to travel to Finland for any basis. Please always visit the website of the Finnish Institute for Health and Welfare. So that's thl.fi/en/web. That's the government institution that takes care of the health and welfare in Finland. And you can see here they have the COVID updates. And this is the official source from where you should and have to look for the information on COVID. Please do not follow advice or information on the COVID situation from people online, because the situation changes every single day. So for example, if you watch a video from someone from a week ago, that's already old information. Please always refer to the official sources. Let's see. Cool. What else? Abhishek saying no hat this time. No, I got, quite a lot of feedback about the hat, so I threw the hat away, and instead I'm trying to keep my hair in check. Thanks for asking. Mahi asking, hey buddy, what about YouTube as profession? Like, since it is considered as self-employment, can I move to Finland as a YouTuber? You can move to Finland if you have a company and you are an entrepreneur. However, you have to prove to the Finnish Immigration Service that you actually are able to actually have enough income to support yourself financially in Finland, so that you cannot support yourself by the social welfare system. However, if you come from outside of the EU and you want to move to Finland as a YouTuber, that's going to be difficult, because the immigration system in Finland is already a bit difficult, and usually you need to have a specialized role in order to move here based on work. So being a YouTuber might not be enough. However, disclaimer, I'm not an immigration expert. However, this is just my gut feeling. So cool. All right, let's jump into the form quickly, and then I might be able to jump back into the chat at some point. However, let's see. Cool. Anyway, next question from the form. And by the way, before I actually jump into the form, two things. If you could please smash the like button. We're currently in 16 likes. It would be awesome to get to 30 likes within the next half an hour or so. So if you could please smash the like button, or just gently touch it with your thumb, depending on what you like to do. The second thing is that if you are new to these live streams and you want me to answer your question live, there's a Google form linked in the description box below. Please post your question into the Google form. That way I will have all the questions here in front of me on the computer, and I will be able to answer all the questions in a first come, first served basis. I will not be able to answer all questions from the live chat because it gets too busy at times. All right, next question from the form comes from Muhammad Kifah Alali. I'm sorry, Muhammad Kifah Alali. There. And Muhammad comes from Iraq, and he is still in high school, but interested in doing a bachelor's in medicine and still searching for a school. And the question is, I want to know which universities have bachelor's medicine programs in English. After you study medicine, can I study radiology? First of all, unfortunately, the current situation in Finland is that there are, let's see, actually, I just checked this for one commenter on the YouTube channel, so I can actually show you where I can where you can find this information. So the Finnish, go away. The Finnish Medical Association is the Association for Professional Doctors, and unfortunately the website is mostly in Finnish. However, there's a bit of educational information here as well in English. So if you're interested in doing a medical degree in English in Finland, unfortunately, as I've understood it, it is currently not possible. This is because in Finland, medical education is offered by 5 universities: the University of Helsinki, Tampere, Turku, Oulu, and the University of Eastern Finland, and at the Kuopio campus. Kuopio is a city. The problem is that none of these schools, as I've understood it right now, I checked this last week, so this information is week old in March, in March 2021. At this time, you are not able to do a medical degree in English in Finland. There are a number of master's programs that are in the medical field. However, those are not MD degrees, so you do not become a medical degree afterwards. You specialize in other stuff. So unfortunately, at this moment, it is not possible to do a degree in English in medicine. Cool. The next question comes from Anna from Poland, and Anna is yet undecided on her future field. And the question is, how does the Kela student allowance work? Will I have to repay the grant money if I apply? All right. So what Anna is referring to is that in Finland, a certain group of students, I will tell you about more about this in just a second. A certain group of students can apply for government grants or government subsidies, and as well as government guaranteed loans, student loans. The thing here is that Anna, as a Polish citizen, as a European Union citizen, unfortunately, you're not eligible to apply for Kela allowances or Kela support. The Kela support, both the student grants as well as the student loans, are only for Finnish citizens. There are some very rare exceptions to this, but as a general rule of thumb, unless you come as a general rule of thumb, only Finnish citizens are eligible to apply for Kela or financial student support from Kela, meaning the Finnish government, unfortunately. Excuse me. Cool. The next question actually comes from Leo. Leo, who is from Finland. What's up, Leo? Welcome to the channel. Leo is still in high school, but is interested in doing a bachelor's in Aalto, at Aalto University in engineering or specifically in computer sciences. And cool. The question is, do you need to apply again for a master's at Aalto if you've gotten in for a bachelor's degree in some engineering discipline? And as in, there's a comma missing. Confused me completely. As in, do you need to go through the application process and get admitted again? Great question, Leo. No, you do not. So as in Finland, when you're actually admitted to study a bachelor's degree in a university, do take into account that there's a difference between university and University of Applied Sciences, so AMK, so ammattikorkeakoulu in this case. So when you are admitted to study a bachelor's at a university, Aalto University is a university, you are automatically also admitted to study your master's as long as you do your bachelor's within the allotted time period. So there's for Finnish nationals, we actually there's a specific time period inside of which we have to do our bachelor's if we want to move to our master's. Otherwise, the university will kick us out. However, this does not only apply to Finnish nationals. So anyone who is admitted to study a bachelor's degree at a university is also automatically admitted to study a master's right after they graduate as bachelors. It's just one document that you have to fill, but the admission is automatic. There's no application per se. So just take this into account. However, where this is a bit different between Finnish nationals and international students is that depending a bit on the degree program. So this might apply to you or this might not apply to you, depending on the school. Finnish nationals have a bit more flexibility in some cases in terms of the choice of master's program. Of course, some master's programs are in Finnish, so of course international students are not able to study in Finnish, so that's kind of something that you cannot do. However, also if you study a bachelor's degree at Aalto University, for example, in economics, as I did, I had a bit more choice on my master's program because we have a bit of a different system. This is most likely to change, or it might have already changed since I last checked. So unless you are... So I think that this is just for Leo in this case. Everyone else can discard this, what I said the last. However, still the answer to Leo's question about the automatic admission to do a master's, that's still valid for everyone. The one thing that you have to take into consideration here, if this information is new to you, is that if you apply to study a bachelor's at a University of Applied Sciences, for example, SAMK, YAMK, Metropolia, what have you. After you graduate as a bachelor's, you have to gather at least 2 to 4 years, depending on the field, of work experience before you can actually apply for a master's in an University of Applied Sciences. So there's a bit of a difference in whether you do your bachelor's at a university or a University of Applied Sciences. So, cool. Rishi, welcome to the stream as well. Awesome to have you here. Just checking who has joined the stream. We have Nedim, we have Tamanga. Actually, you guys were, I think, already on the stream. Welcome anyways. Lilian, Xu, what's up? We have Invalid Company, where welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. It's almost weekend again. I'm completely all over the place. I don't know. Welcome everyone. Let's see. There's another question from Leo. And the question is, why is the lowest accepted Finnish exam score for the English bachelor's degree in data science, digital system and design, etc. so low when there are about 400 applicants and only 22 are accepted? This is a good question. I think that you might have asked this already in the Discord channel or server. Unfortunately, I don't know. I have no information on this. I only have guesses, but I would prefer not to talk about them right here because they're simply guesses. I don't know. The quality of education in the English programs versus the Finnish language programs is no different, so it's not about that. Topoyo, what's up? Welcome to the stream as well. Awesome to have you here once again. Let's see. The next question comes from Fleischmann ES. As a reminder, Fleisch comes from Hungary and is still in high school, but applying for a bachelor's in computer sciences at Aalto University. And the question is, hi Oliver, what's up? On the website of the computational engineering program in Aalto University, it says that it is a 3+2 year degree because of the master's. Is it an option to not have the master's, but another one in the same field? Great question. Most likely the answer is, I think that you should be able to choose your master's program. However, there might be some limitations on what kind of master's you actually might do. So, well, if we actually check this live right now, so computational engineering, Aalto, just Googling, I'll show you right now. So if you, for example, so here's the Aalto Bachelor's Program in Science and Technology, computational engineering. So actually, let's see, if we go all the way down, I think we have, yeah, here, qualifications. So by completing the Aalto Bachelor's Program in Science and Technology, you will earn a bachelor's degree, blah, blah, blah. And after graduating from the BSc program, the student automatically has the right to continue studies in selected master's programs. So there's a number of programs that you can study in. So it's not computational engineering in your master's. So there's a list of degrees that you will be able to do. Not here, it's most likely on another Aalto website. However, there is a limit to the programs that you can apply to. So, or I'm sorry, move to after your bachelor's. For example, of course, you cannot do a master's in economics if you have a bachelor's in computational engineering. However, the list might be somewhere in the Aalto intranet. You just need to look for it. Cool. The next question comes from Tony from Germany, I think. Germany? I think, yeah. Because Tony has been on the channel before. Tony is applying for a bachelor's in mechatronics, possibly other engineering-related studies as well. Awesome. Mechatronics sounds really, really cool. The question is actually about the degree. So, hi, can you shed some light on mechatronics in Finland? Do people put more value on, let's say, mechanical engineering due to its more traditional reputation? What kind of job opportunities can one have with those two different fields? Great question. Unfortunately, I'm not able to give you too much information here because, again, I have my background in business. Even though I have worked in the Finnish recruitment field before, this is a very specific question, and I don't have enough background information on mechatronics. However, I would say that mechanical engineering is a great general degree, so definitely something that you will find value in. However, you have to consider that what I would consider. All right, a couple of points here. First, you have to take into account that the fact that you have a degree in mechanical engineering doesn't mean that you become a mechanical engineer. You can actually work as an engineer in multiple different fields, in multiple different specialities or projects, or in you might have multiple different titles. So having a degree in engineering in itself is already one thing, something that, or a qualification. So the fact that you have a degree in mechanical engineering doesn't mean that you couldn't do electronics, for example, if you have, for example, done courses in electronics. So I would apply this to your question in that your degree itself, or the degree title that you're looking for, does not necessarily mean what specific jobs you are able to do. Of course, if you want to do, space lasers, then you might need some kind of a specialized degree, or at least some specialized courses. However, it's a lot of people, I think, confuse the name of the degree and your career opportunities in the future. For example, if you do a master's degree in finance versus a master's degree in management, it doesn't mean that you cannot work as a manager or in managerial positions as a master's in finance. Also, if you have a master's in finance, it doesn't mean that you actually have to work in finance or banking. You can do basically anything related to business, as long as you just have the skills and knowledge. The same goes for management students as well. The same applies to engineering as well. The degree in itself doesn't, of course, it gives you direction, but it doesn't necessarily specify your future that strictly. Having said that, mechatronics, I think, is a field of the future. Any kind of robotics, automation, anything that, I'm going to steal this from another YouTuber, anything that furthers the cause of our robot overlords in the future is going to be beneficial for you. So any type of thing that has anything to do with automation or robotics is going to be a great degree and absolutely valuable in the future. The fields might not be that big right now compared to, you know, traditional engineering fields. However, you have to think about this for, you know, in terms of 20 years, 30 years, 50 years. And, you know, any kind of automation is going to, you know, pass, you know, these traditional engineering fields in importance in the future because of the way that the markets are going. Sorry, long answer. I hope that that gave you at least some context. So I would say pursue whichever degree you find more interested in, interesting. So what you can actually do here, just sorry everyone else. Hopefully this actually helps everyone else as well. I'm trying to keep my answers as general as possible. But what you can actually do, regardless of the school and degree that you're applying for, is let's see. You can actually Google. With most schools, you can actually Google the school plus the degree, so Aalto University Mechatronics, and in Aalto University's case, you can actually go to this page called into.aalto. This is Aalto University's intranet, and most likely you can actually see the curriculum here. Yeah, so actually here you can actually see the curriculum for the program here. So for example, here you have machine design, machine material engineering, you have mechatronics, fluid power basics, you have vehicle mechatronics. So all of this is really, really interesting. So look into the curriculum of each program and try to figure out which topic interests you personally more. The reason for this is that I think that the most dangerous thing you can do as a aspiring student is to study something that someone else tells you to study for whatever reasons. As myself, if I use myself as an example, I actually did my bachelor's in accounting and business administration because someone told me that it's easy to get a job after you have a degree in accounting because it's a very general degree. However, the problem was I've always hated numbers. I've always hated math, and accounting is basically just mathematics. It's very simple math, but it's still numbers. And I absolutely hated the degree, and I actually burnt out really badly. And my school was postponed really quite a lot. Then I changed my, plus also my degrees were really, really bad because I didn't pay any kind of attention in the class. I failed a lot of courses. I had to redo them, etc. So disaster. Then for my master's, I actually changed my subject to management studies. And I've actually done really well in my master's studies. So in Finland, we have our GPAs are measured from 0 to 5. My master's degree GPA is 4.97. So it's almost perfect. The only reason I didn't work at all more for my master's compared to my bachelor's, but the big difference was that I was actually super interested in the topics that were taught in my master's program, which means that I have a really good GPA. I actually understand what I'm doing, and you know, that is going to help me more in my career development compared to studying the right field or right degree. So take this into account. ES saying, or Fleischman saying, you hate math, unsubbed. I do get it. That's completely fine if you feel that way. I actually, it's funny. I actually had to get used to math because, you know, for example, YouTube is all about math analytics. So I do like it in certain contexts, but you know, doing basic math is just, especially by hand, it's just don't like it at all. Anyways, ranting. Let's get back to the questions from the forum. The next one actually comes from Chandima. All right, I'm gonna ruin your name. Sorry, Chandima Ekanayike. Chandima Ekanayake. Ekanayu. There's a Y. I'm not sure. Is it an I or J in pronunciation? Chandima Ekanayake. I would guess that's close enough. Hopefully. Sorry for butchering your name. Anyways, Chandima comes from Sri Lanka and is applying for a master's in agriculture. Is starting school next semester, doing a master's in agriculture. And the question is, hey, I'm starting my studies this autumn at the University of Helsinki. First of all, congratulations on being admitted to study agriculture at the University of Helsinki. That's awesome. You are one of the rare people who actually get admitted. It's a very strict admission process. So congratulations. That's absolutely awesome. I'm sure that you're going to enjoy yourself there. I want to know whether there are any online Finnish courses that I can attend online. Yes, there are. Yevgenia, if you're still online, please can you post the link to the XAMK Finnish language course? Because I'm actually going to look up my own video on this topic and the sources there. So just let me check that really quickly. There you go. So Chandiva, great question. So if you actually look for this video, best free online tools to learn Finnish before moving to Finland, it's on my channel. I actually have a bunch of different tools here that I really recommend. These are all free, and two of these are actually made by Finnish universities or upkept by Finnish universities, so they're really high quality. All of them are of course introductory courses. However, it's better than nothing. Then what I refer to, I'm not sure if Yevgenia is still online, but Yevgenia is actually really nice in reminding me every single week that there is actually a open university course from XAMK, University of Applied Sciences, right here, where they actually have a really good and high quality Finnish language course. So let's see. Let's see. Nope. Anyways, actually it doesn't matter. I cannot find it right now, but just Google XAMK, Open University Finnish, and you can find it from their website. So that's a really good university level Finnish language course, which is completely free, and you can do it online. So I would definitely recommend doing that before you come here. Definitely highly recommended. Great question, by the way. Cool. The next question comes from Sanjay, who comes from India. And Sanjay is starting school this semester, doing a master's in construction management. That's awesome. That's actually really interesting. The question from Sanjay is, how has the corona lockdown affected the part-time jobs for foreign students in Finland? Great question. Unfortunately, the situation is not good for anyone. So it's not only foreign students, but for any students. Especially, so a couple of things that you need to keep in mind here is that most of the part-time jobs that students, especially those who are in the early stages of their studies, in the first couple of years, especially if they do their bachelor's, the kind of normal or typical part-time jobs that they do are in the service sector. So like, in restaurants, cafes, grocery stores, clothing stores, as sales clerks, for example. And the problem is that, for example, currently we have a 3-week shutdown of all restaurant businesses, meaning that there's no jobs there in the restaurant business for a couple of weeks. If the situation gets worse, of course it's going to continue. In addition, many businesses like traditional, like clothing stores, etc., they have had to furlough or fire people because the sales are down because people don't hang out in the city. Meaning that a lot of companies have a hiring freeze right now, meaning that any kind of part-time jobs like these are quite rare right now. The one thing that I would recommend, the one thing that I would note is that the more specialized job market has actually bounced back, meaning that, for example, jobs in fields where you can work online, for example, a lot of business jobs or engineering jobs, or whatever, actually have bounced back. So businesses have already now figured out a way to work online, meaning that, for example, a lot of businesses have already started recruiting once again, for back office jobs that can be done from home or even at the office. So I would say that the more specialized your job or field, for example, in your case, construction management, and you're doing a master's, I think that part-time jobs in your field or your case the situation is not really that bad as many people have. However, I would say that I would not rely on getting a part-time job. I would not, rely on getting a part-time job as a student. If you think about your finances or day-to-day finances, simply because the situation is not good for anyone right now. So just take that into account. Jed, what's up, dude? Second super sticker. That's so awesome. I'm not sure if you actually want me to do the faces. I think I might just start doing this if it becomes a thing. So wait, this way? No, this way. Looks better. And then this really weird swirly eyes. This good enough? Something like this? Yeah, my girlfriend doesn't like when I do my faces. I've always been a bit weird. So thank you for the super sticker. Again, it's highly appreciated. Really love the support, man. I do appreciate it. Thanks. The next question comes from, actually Leo or Levon. And the question is, where can you find good information about diploma engineer salaries depending on the engineering field? Great question, Leon. Actually, you should check out the salary recommendations from the Insinööriliitto. So let me just, and this applies to everyone. So if you want to check out the different salary recommendations for different fields, usually the unions for different professional fields, like for example, the Union of Professional Engineers in Finland, Insinööriliitto in Finnish, they have actually salary recommendations for their own field. So if you just actually look for Insinööriliitto salaries, you can actually see their salary recommendations for, let's see. I think we might actually have. All right, here we go. So this page is not in English for some reason. So let me just use Google Translate to really quickly just translate it. Translate the entire page. So there you go. So initial salary recommendations for engineers graduating in 2021. So these are always recommendations. Do note that these are not put in stone. So companies have there's nothing telling companies that they have to pay these salaries. However, these are general market recommendations for example, engineers in Finland after graduation. So in the metropolitan area around the capital, once you graduate, if you have very little work experience during school, this is your recommended salary before taxes. So 3,200 euros before taxes of salary per month. If you have already some work experience, then the salary recommendation is a bit higher. Again, take into account that these are just after you graduate. So your salary will of course go higher the more work experience you get over the years. However, if you do not work in around the Helsinki capital region, then the recommendations are a bit lower because Helsinki is more expensive than other cities in Finland, meaning that the salaries are also a bit higher. Cool. So Insinööriliitto for you specifically to look for engineering fields. Do note that there are not many fields do not have specific salary recommendations for different specialities. So for example, there is a specific salary recommendation for business students. However, graduates from the finance graduates versus, for example, people who have done a degree in marketing have very different salary levels. However, the recommendations are field specific. That's also one of the reasons why you should not follow these to the letter. So just take that into account. Cool. We actually got to 31 likes. Thank you so much, guys. We're actually having quite a lot of people here right now live. So welcome. If this is the first time we're meeting, my name is Oliver, and on the channel we talk about education and early career development in Finland. And during these live streams, I answer your most burning questions about studying, living, and working in Finland. And if you have any questions that you would like me to answer live, please post your question into the Google form that is linked in the description box below. The reason why I have a Google form is that the chat gets quite busy as it is right now. And if you post your question into the live chat, it is highly likely that I will not be able to answer your question. So post your questions into the Google form, and I will get to you in the order that the questions have been posted. Cool. Let's see what else. The next question actually comes from Jet Gotti, again, who's super active in the chat and is also a channel member. And Jet is comes from India, and the question is: are there any alternatives for housing other than HOAS for students? Great question. Yes, there are, depending on the city that you are in. So, for example, if you study in Helsinki, no matter the university, then HOAS is your best bet. So HOAS is the largest student housing provider in the Helsinki region, foundation of student housing in the Helsinki region. It is a non-profit. It is one of the sponsors on the channel. # this video is not sponsored by them. However, you have to take into account that it's a non-profit organization. HOAS is actually owned by students in Finland, and they have over 10,000 apartments in the Helsinki region, I think, and their apartments are super affordable. They're really good, in good locations, good quality, and overall the level of living in their apartments is excellent. However, if you do not get an apartment from HOAS, and you, for example, study at the Aalto University, you can also apply for AYY apartments. AYY is the student union of Aalto University, and they have a number of apartments of their own, for example, many of which are in the Aalto University campus area. However, you have to take into account that they have quite a bit less apartments compared to HOAS, and they have a really long queue, so you really need to apply early if you want to have a chance of getting an apartment from them. However, if you don't study at Aalto University and you, for example, study at the University of Helsinki, then you should look for the apartments from the student union of the University of Helsinki. Again, universities in Finland have active student unions, and many student unions in Finland actually have their own apartments. So in this case, HYY, which is the student union in Helsinki of the University of Helsinki, apply for their apartments. Do take into account that every single city and every single university has different student apartment providers. So what is really important to understand that, and I've actually gotten quite a lot of questions about this, universities themselves, so the universities, do not offer any apartments at all in Finland. That's not their job in Finland. So we don't have any kind of university dormitories that are provided by the school. All student apartments are provided either by student unions or different private market operators, for example, HOAS. There's a lot of different operators around Finland, and almost every single university city in Finland has some kind of a student apartment provider. Cool. The next question comes from Eric from South Africa. Welcome, Eric. And Eric is actually coming for work in the IT field and not for school. And I think Eric had a couple of really good questions last week. And the question is, what's the best city or region to live in terms of salaries and cost of living? Great question, Eric. The formulation of the question is a bit problematic because the best city to live in terms of salaries is Helsinki, or not just Helsinki, which is the capital of Finland, but the Helsinki capital region. There's multiple cities in the capital region which are close to each other, and the salary levels in Helsinki capital region are highest. After Helsinki, I would say that Turku, which is actually the old capital of Finland, which is on the west coast, southwest coast of Finland, they have quite high salaries as well. And then, for example, Vaasa, which is a really big city, I think that their salaries are quite nice as well. The thing is that, of course, the capital region is also considerably more expensive than other cities in Finland. So in terms of costs of living, Helsinki is not the best. But then, of course, if you just compare the level of salary and your cost of living, Helsinki is not the best choice. I would say that Turku or Vaasa are better. However, you have to take into account that, of course, in Helsinki, because the Helsinki capital region, once again, it's the biggest kind of metropolitan area in Finland. They have the most companies, the most amount of international companies and global corporations, meaning that there are more jobs in Helsinki as well. So of course, if you're able to find a really, really nice job in the IT field in Turku, I highly recommend it. It's a lovely city, really beautiful. It's a really old city as well in terms of Finland. And for example, the architecture is lovely. However, I would say that there are still more jobs in Helsinki. A point aside what I just said, in the IT field, there are jobs everywhere. There is jobs absolutely everywhere in Finland, no matter the city, small, big. Well, if you go live in a farm somewhere in the middle of nowhere, well, you could always work, online because we have, 5G basically everywhere, or 4G in every single corner of the country. So basically you could work from anywhere remotely. Anyway, so in the IT sector, you can basically find, work anywhere. However, again, the salaries are highest in the Helsinki region because they're the biggest IT and, especially software development or software consulting companies are in Helsinki. So just keep that in mind. Also, Eric, just wanted to mention this to you. Not sure if you were in the live stream when I talked about these companies. So before you actually come to Finland, register to a couple of recruitment companies even before you move here. First one is Talented. So Talented is an exclusive recruitment / headhunting company for software developers. Their services are completely free for software developers, and they basically invoice their customer companies. So these guys are really, really good. They're one of the best IT recruitment companies in Finland. Highly, highly recommended. I have a couple of old colleagues working here. Definitely great. So check them out. The second that I recommend is Finder Seekers. Also another excellent IT recruitment company. Contact them prior to moving to Finland as well. I think that these will really, really increase your chances of getting as good of a job as you possibly can. Cool. Hopefully that helped. Again, if you have any other questions, just just have them in the form, or for example in the Discord server if you want to have a chat there in any of the channels. Cool. The next question comes from Vittorio Monti, who comes from Brazil, and Vittorio is applying for a bachelor's in international business in one of the following universities of applied sciences: Kajaani, Oulu, or Lapland. The Lapland University the Lapland University of Applied Sciences. Just quick moment. I think I need a drink. By the way, let me know in the chat, what are you actually drinking tonight, this morning, wherever you're actually streaming from? Again, not alcohol. This is not Guinness beer. I cannot market alcohol in Finland online. This is actually juice. Not sure if you can actually see. It's actually cranberry juice. Really nice. Cranberries are actually a berry that we have a lot of in Finland. Really, really good juice. Cool. Anyways, the question kind of got all over the place there. The question from Vittorio is, "Hi Oliver, how are you doing?" As you can see, Vittorio, I'm doing great. A bit all over the place, but thank you very much. I'm healthy. That's the most important thing. My question is regarding financial sustainability for international students. Great topic. It is required for a residence permit that you have at least 560 euros available monthly to be able to maintain and cover your living costs while living in Finland. I have seen videos, forums, and from people, posts from people living in Finland that it is possible to cover both your rent and monthly grocery shopping with 560 euros and even less, given that the money is well administrated. I wanted to know your personal opinion on this matter and also if there is a difference in prices from small cities compared to Helsinki. Thanks for the attention. Great question. Great question. So yeah, all right. So first of all, that is absolutely true. If you want to have, when you apply for a residence permit as a student to Finland, the Finnish Immigration Service requires you to have at least 560 euros per month for living costs. So you have to, if you have to pay tuition, this money cannot be used to pay the tuition. So you have to have this money to live in Finland. If you don't have the 560 euros to live in Finland, you will not be granted a residence permit. The thing is that you have to have this money already on your bank account before you actually move to Finland. So you have to have quite a lot of savings on the bank account before you actually move here. However, the 560 euros, kind of referring to what you said here, that you have heard from people that you can actually get by with a smaller amount of money, that is true. However, if you live, again, going back to the question from Eric about the best city in Finland in terms of cost of living, if you live in the capital region, meaning Helsinki, Espoo, Vantaa, then we have Kauniainen, and then we have, what else do we have there? Any Finnish people is going to crucify me for this, but if you live in the capital region, 560 euros is actually not that much money. The reason here is that the level of rent is quite a bit higher in the capital region compared to the rest of the country. To your question about the level of living costs per month, like for example food, public transportation, those are actually quite on a similar level regardless of the city. One of the reasons is that the Finnish logistics chains for food, big grocery chains, or retail chains, they have a really good logistics chain, meaning that the prices, for example, for basic groceries is almost the same in Helsinki as it is in for example, Lapland, 1,000 kilometers away. There might be some variations depending on the shops or the grocery stores, individual stores. For example, there's a store just downstairs in our building, and it's one of the most expensive grocery stores in Finland because the area is also quite expensive, so they actually are able to ask for a higher price. However, of course, by choosing specific products that are not the most expensive ones or the most expensive ones, you can of course budget your life quite easily, or for any level of budget. However, the problem is the rent, because the rent in Finland, in the Helsinki region is quite high in general, or the level of rent. However, this is key. Student apartments are super cheap compared to the actual market price of apartments. So if you get a cheap student apartment, for example, from HOAS, for example, just a small apartment, like a small studio or a room in a shared apartment, 560 euros is going to be just fine. The problem is that if you come to Finland, I would prefer you guys not to come here just to study, sit in the library 24/7. Meaning that I would encourage you guys to travel inside the country, for example, go to Lapland, go to other cities, party a bit, go to different student events, different career events, and this kind of stuff. And all of that costs money. And if you try to go by with just 560 euros, most likely there's not going to be that much left after, your rent and living costs, so that to travel around. So based on this, my personal recommendation is to have around 700 to maybe or even 800 euros per month for your living, so that you can actually have some extra money over if you, for example, want to ad hoc fly to Lapland to ski, because that's quite expensive. However, if you don't have that extra money, then you're not able to do these really, really fun things that you can actually do in Finland. Or if you, for example, want to travel around Europe once, COVID is over, because you can actually get really cheap train tickets from Helsinki to travel around Europe. So take that into account. Jet Gotti once more comes and strikes like a lightning with another super sticker. I guess that's now the faces. Oh dear. All right, so we need to do more faces. Dude, thank you so much once again. Highly appreciated. So that's like a scary face. I'm not sure. All right, let's try this again this way. And no, like eyes have to be bigger. No, I think this is close enough. A bigger mouth. Cool. I hope that satisfies your super sticker. Thanks, man. I do appreciate it. That's awesome. Anyway, Vittorio, I hope that gave you a bit of context, and as well as to anyone else as well. So these are very general answers. Of course, it depends always on your personal situation. So just take this into account. The next question comes actually again from Eric from South Africa. And the question is, what are the best news sources across the board if you want to know what is going on in Finland? Great question. Thank you, actually, Eric. You're asking really, really good questions. I do love them. First of all, actually, before I say anything or show anything, a disclaimer. Unfortunately, most of these papers are mainly in Finnish. There are many of these newspapers and news organizations do have some English language news as well. But for example, if you want to learn Finnish, these are really, really great sources to learn Finnish as well. Also, what I do if I want to translate, for example, a news story from one of the reputable news sources into English, I actually use the free Google Translate plugin in Chrome, so that you can actually translate the entire page. It's not going to be 100% accurate, but at least you broaden the amount of news that you can actually read in English if you want to, specifically local news. So, Helsingin Sanomat. Helsingin Sanomat is the biggest newspaper in Finland. Really good. They do have a subscription-based. A lot of the news that you see on the website are subscription-based, but they do have a lot of free articles. Helsingin Sanomat is basically the go-to, general newspaper for basically almost the entire country. It's not gossip. They do have a business section. They do have sports, etc. But the general news sections are basically the go-to. Then after that is Yle. So Yle is actually a government news organization. So it's actually owned by the Finnish government. Before you say anything, especially if you come from countries where government-run news organizations are not that well liked, Yle is basically separated from the government. It's tax paid, but they do not have any kind of anything to do with the government, and they actually are extremely critical of the government and of the parliament, for example, and they get into hot water quite often because they are quite critical of different parliamentarians. So Yle is my go-to place. The cool thing about Yle is since it's non-profit, or it's not a business paper, it's a new government tax-paid news source. It's the most neutral news source in Finland, in my opinion. Of course, you can debate on the neutrality of the individual news reporters. However, Yle is a great one. Then the first business paper that I would recommend is Kauppalehti, or the business paper in translated into English. Again, the same thing. A lot of the articles here are subscription based. However, this is my go-to business paper that I basically open up every single morning when I come to work. They also have Kauppalehti as well as Helsingin Sanomat. They both have a physical paper as well if you want to get that. And if you want to read actual real news, these are great. I think these are really good ones to start with. There are multiple others, but there are also a lot of uh, evening papers or these gossip papers that I would not recommend you to read for the news stories. Of course, if you want to learn Finnish through easy to read articles, then there's, for example, Iltalehti, which is a direct translation from evening paper. Iltalehti, Ilta Sanomat is another like evening gossip type of paper. So the articles are really clickbaity. They're really short. I've never read them. I actually don't like them at all because the news stories are not substantive. I think they're more like gossipy. So yeah, Helsingin Sanomat, Yle, and then Kauppalehti for business. I think that those are the best for you to start with. Of course, there's a bunch of others, but those are my go-tos. The next question comes from Devansh Ohari, who comes from India and is starting school this semester to do a bachelor's at the Tampere University of Applied Sciences, doing a degree in interactive media and design. Nice. That's cool. All right. Let's see. The question is, first of all, thank you so much, Oliver, for the information. Thank you for hanging out. If it wasn't for you, I would not even know the name of Finland. I got accepted into TAMK and will be coming to Finland this August. Thank you so much. Oh, really? Okay, cool. So this is not actually a question, just a comment. Thank you so much for the very, very lovely comment. That's highly appreciated. First of all, that makes me super happy that I've been able to positively impact your decision on coming to study here. And I'm sure that you're going to enjoy yourself in Finland a lot. Of course, do keep following the channel. There's going to be a lot of really good information about studies and, building your career, especially in the early stages of your career. But Devansh, first of all, congratulations. Or second of all, congratulations on being admitted to TAM. That is absolutely awesome. If I'd remember which of these buttons that I have here is actually the applause button, I would actually press it. But there's a bunch of them. I don't remember which one of them it was. So to everyone who has been admitted to study this upcoming semester, congratulations, dude, guys, awesome. The next question from the forum, and once again, everyone who has just joined the stream or who are new to the channel, welcome. How these live streams work is that I have a Google form linked in the description box below. So if you open the description box under the video and go just a bit down, there's two yellow exclamation marks, and between them you have a link. So that link goes to a Google form. And if you want me to answer your questions live, please post your question into the Google form, because that way I will have all the questions here in front of me on the computer, and I will be able to answer everyone's questions in first come, first served basis. If you post your question into the live chat, it is highly likely that I will miss your question because the chat gets really busy and it's really difficult to follow along. Actually, Gaspar has a really good comment regarding what Eric asked just a while ago about the news sources. Gaspar is saying, how about Yle Areena? That is actually a really good point, and I completely disregarded it. Thank you so much for actually bringing that up. So Yle Areena is, Yle Areena is actually a basically web video portal upheld by Yle, so the tax-paid news organization. They have not only news broadcasts, so they actually have old news broadcasts in Yle Areena. So if you want to watch them on the web after they have aired, you can actually watch them here. They have a lot of documentaries. They have a lot of really cool videos that you can, for example, use to learn Finnish. It's completely free, so that's really cool. But I highly recommend it if you want to, watch Finnish language television from the web. So Gaspar, thank you so much for recommending it. One of the reasons why I didn't most likely bring it up is because Yle Areena is not purely news based. It's a lot of different video content. Cool. The next question comes from Rohan. Oh, excuse me. My throat is becoming a bit dry from all the talking. Anyway, So the next question comes from Rohan, again from who's from India, and the question is it necessary for the non-European Union applicants to have 180 credits from their bachelor's degree to be eligible for a master program in Finland? Oh, right. So actually, Rohan, I already answered this question in the early points of the stream. So I actually talked about this in quite a bit of depth. However, the basic gist, if I summarize, my understanding is that if you come to study a master's in Finland, you do not necessarily have to have a bachelor's degree that is exactly 180 ECTS credits. Rather, what is important is that your bachelor's degree makes you eligible to apply for a master's program in your own country. So this is the kind of the basic need that or requirement for any applicant. However, you have to take into account that many universities in Finland, and especially many university degrees, require you to have prior studies that make you eligible to study a master's in that field. For example, if you want to study a master's degree in business or let's say finance, you cannot apply to a master's in finance even if you have a full bachelor's degree if it's not from a similar field. So for example, if you have a bachelor's degree which is 180 credits from software development, that will not make you eligible to apply for a master's in business. So you have to your bachelor has to make you eligible to apply the same field in Finland. So these are the basic requirements. The exact requirements for the degree, the prior degree, is always mentioned or explained on the university website. So check the individual universities and their application/admission websites, and they will have them the requirements explained there. Anyways, the next question comes from Bree, who comes from England. Welcome, Bree. Awesome to have you here as well. Bree is applying for a master's in chemistry at the University of Helsinki, and the question is, what should I make sure to include in my motivation letter for my application? Great question. Unfortunately, I'm a bit hesitant on giving advice on motivation letters or, for example, interviews. The reason being that there's no specific way of writing a motivation letter or preparing for an interview. Reason being, not only do the different degree programs that people apply to require different kind of things from the applicants, but also universities in Finland, across Finland, differ in terms of what they emphasize in their applicants. For example, I know that the University of Helsinki is heavily emphasizing, they don't necessarily emphasize this on the applicants. Again, I'm not sure because I don't have any experience in this. However, what I do know is that the studies at the University of Helsinki are heavily emphasizing research. So they're very science-based. It's the best science and research university in Finland, so there's no, that's given. But for example, compared to the Aalto University, the degree programs in Helsinki University are they emphasize more like research topics. This means that if I were to apply to the University of Helsinki, I would most likely emphasize a bit more like the academic side of myself in my motivation letter. However, this is not actual advice. Don't listen to me in this case because I've never gone through this process myself. Finnish people have a different application process. In addition, the thing is that, of course, the application requirements and the applicants, they change each year, meaning that what makes you unique depends on each year's applicants. However, having said this, what I would think about when I'm writing a motivation letter or prepping for an interview, what I would be thinking about is the fact that you have been either invited to an interview or the fact that you have to write a motivation letter means that you should be already eligible to or good enough to be admitted on paper. And the motivation letter / an interview, they're only there to separate people from each other. Because if we go into the, if we go and look, at the root of things, everything, most applicants, university applicants, are quite similar on paper in terms of their prior educational background, their high school degree, their high school final scores. So the motivation letter and interviews, they're only there to separate you guys on, as people and as, students. I'm sorry, this might sound a bit confusing, but hopefully it makes sense in a second. So if I were a person at the university looking at the applications, the one thing that I would be looking for is what makes you as an individual unique. What makes you separate yourself from the pack, specifically from the eyes of the university. So, for example, as an international student or applicant, I would be asking you, as a university employee, why do you want to come to Finland? What actually makes you to come to Finland from? All right, you're coming from England, so not that far away from. But if you, for example, come from India or Australia, why do you want to come to Finland? And then after that, why do you want to study at the University of Helsinki? Or why do you want to study at the Saimaa University of Applied Sciences? Why there? What's your motivation? What are your aspirations for the future? What do you want to do after you graduate from the school? What do you want to do at the later stage in your career? So basically, it's not, the motivation letter is not there for you to repeat your grades or the things that you have already done. It's there to tell more deeply about you and your aspirations and how they are connected, how they make you a better applicant for the university itself. So I would be thinking about this kind of things. However, it's really hard for me to give any kind of really concrete advice on this topic for the reasons that I just mentioned. But hopefully this gives you a bit more context and ideas on where to kind of approach the topic. So, cool. The next question comes from Mostakin, who comes from Bangladesh. And Mostakin has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in doing a bachelor's in Finland. And actually, we already covered the question in the live chat. So the question was I want to apply for my bachelor's. Could you please tell me about the deadlines? So the deadlines for bachelor's degrees are in January. So the application period for English taught bachelor's degrees in general are in January. However, there are some individual universities or universities of applied sciences that also have applications open during the year, but the number is quite low. What I would recommend you to do is, as another alternative, is as an alternative solution, is go to edunation.co. Edunation is a Finnish company that provides international students an alternative route to apply to study in Finland. And the cool thing is that they have a bunch of partner universities that that you can apply to through Edunation. So Edunation is basically helping you apply to these universities. And the one thing that is really cool about Edunation is that normally when you apply to study in Finland, there's only basically one application period per year. If you want to do a master's, that's between December and January. And if you want to apply for a bachelor's, that's during January. And however, when you apply through Edunation, first of all, the application periods are, excuse me, the application periods are much longer. As you can see here, it's almost 7 months. In addition, with some of the schools that Edunation is partnering with, they actually have multiple rounds of applications per year. So I would recommend for you to do is to come here on this page and look for the different programs that they have and kind of go from there. By the way, hashtag not sponsored. I'm not affiliated with Edunation, so I'll just take that into account. It's just a good service. Cool. The next question comes from Eric again. And The question is actually, where can I find online courses to learn Finnish? I applied at Exam, but the course was full. I'm using Duolingo, but I feel I need something more serious. Great question. I actually covered this a bit earlier, so I don't remember the sources by heart, but I can give you a couple of sources for you if you want to check them out. So just go to, after the live stream, go to my channel and use the search function to look for Finnish, and then go to this a bit older video, best free online tools to learn Finnish before moving to Finland. And you can actually, if you go to the description here, there's a couple of courses here that you can take. Excuse me. I'm having a sore throat or dry throat. Need to drink a bit more. So there's a couple of really good courses here. These are all free. They're pretty basic, but you can actually get started with this. So I think these are two university held courses. So the first one, Introductory Finnish, is actually held by the Aalto University. So you will not get credits from this course, if I remember correctly. However, they have really good video recordings where they go through the basics of Finnish, so highly recommend it. It's also free. The second one is a website called A Taste of Finnish, and this is actually upheld by the University of Helsinki. So this is also a really good source, for example, for vocabulary and grammar. So these are two that I would recommend you to start with. Jet Gotti once more comes as a lightning strike with the fourth super sticker. Thanks so much, dude. I actually don't have any popcorn with you, so I have no idea how to make a popcorn face. I could do this, having being basically in a movie theater. I'm the guy who's doing this in a movie theater every time, and everyone finds it really annoying. What? So yeah, that's me in the movies. I know it's really annoying. Thanks, man. I do appreciate it. It's more than I could ask for. That's awesome. Cool. What else? Then the next question comes from Marina Carregnato, who comes from Brazil/Italy, and Marina is applying for a master's in economics at Aalto University. And Marina saying, hello again, Oliver. Hello again, Marina. Awesome to have you back. I have two questions. Number one, should I schedule the in-person visit at the Finnish immigration service called Migri before arriving in Finland in August? Yes, great question. Please do. This is actually a good point for everyone. So if you come from outside the European Union, you need to actually visit the Finnish immigration service service points when you come here to kind of finalize your residence permit process, or your, and you need to reserve a time to actually go to the service point. I have no idea how they're managed right now. Maybe they're done online, at least to some portion, not sure. However, this is actually a great question, and every single university in Finland, as well as the Finnish Immigration Service, they recommend that you actually book a time to the service point before you come to Finland. Reason being that every single international student has to do this after they come here, and there's actually a time period. I think it was like 3 months or so, that you have to do this within a certain time period if you want to have your residence permit kept, valid. And the problem is that there's only limited amount of, times per week. So the earlier you reserve this, the more, likely it is that you can get this over with as soon as possible. It's something that you really don't want to stress out about after you come to Finland. Rather, just take care of it as soon as possible. So we definitely reserve the time way before you come here, like a month before, so that you have enough times available. The second question was, I will start studying in the Masters of Economics at Aalto in August, and I'm seriously considering choosing the research track of the program. Do you have any idea about the amount of workload this track would require? Thank you very much. First of all, for you as well, Marina, congratulations on being admitted to Aalto University. You're going to absolutely enjoy yourself at Aalto. I'm just about to get out of your way. Hopefully, I will have my thesis done this weekend, and I will be able to step out of the university world. To your question, I actually did not even know that they have a research track. So I hope that this answers your question. I actually have no idea. I didn't know that this exists. Super interesting. I will definitely look into this. So I might be able to answer this in a week or two. However, it sounds super interesting, and I definitely recommend it if it's something that you're interested in going deeper into the academics of economics. So highly recommend it. I'm sure that it's great, considering that it's Aalto University. It's the best business school, business research school in Finland. However, I cannot really comment here because I have no experience there myself. Cool. The next question comes from Ludwig Sehammar, who comes from Sweden. Welcome. Välkommen, Ludwig. I actually think that you might be the first Swedish person in the stream. Welcome. Välkommen. That's awesome. I'm sorry. That's really dumb of me. I actually used to study Swedish for 18 years. And I actually used to speak really, really fluent, like almost native level Swedish, but I haven't been using it for the last 15 years or so, or 10, 12 years. So I actually don't speak Swedish anymore, but I used to. I used to speak really fluent Swedish. Anyways, let's see. Ludwig's question. I'm sorry, Ludwig is coming to Finland for work, not for school. And he's coming to work in the HR and IT management. Awesome. Nice. Great field. Question, any tips for a guy looking for a job within the HR/IT fields in Finland? I'm a native Swede, so I have that going for me, but getting interviews have been hard. I have a bachelor's in HR and a master's in IT management. Great question. Ludwig, actually, if you want, I can actually give you a bit of personal coaching on this because I happen to come from the field. So I will not bore everyone talking about HR and the different cities that you could work in. So if you want to reach out to me either in the Discord server, if anyone is not, if some of you are not members of our Discord server, there's a link below in the description box below. And Ludwig, if you join the server, contact me there, or if you want to contact me on LinkedIn, I can give you a couple of tips on this because I have a lot of colleagues working still in HR. I actually used to work in HR, not as a recruiter, but as a marketing specialist. Before I actually started doing YouTube full time. So I have quite a lot of information on the field, and I have a lot of really, really good tips for you. So definitely contact me on LinkedIn or in Discord. I will not be able to get back to you this week because this week is super busy, but next week would be good. So yeah, so Ludwig, just let me know in the chat if you're still live so that I know to expect your message, because I get quite a lot of messages nowadays. But definitely contact me there directly. And let's talk. I can even give you a couple of references or recommendations, or even try to connect you with a couple of colleagues of mine, or ex-colleagues of mine. So yeah, cool. The next question comes from Lilian, comes from China, and Lilian is already studying in Finland, Lilian is already studying in Finland. I'm a bit confused about the information in the IT job market. So I guess not working, but looking for a job. And the question is, hey, Oliver, do internal referrals play in an important role, a more important role compared to any other means in the Finnish job market? Great question. So what Lilian is basically referring here, if I understood your question correctly, is basically recommendations and from your network. As a simple answer, yes. This is a very, very simplified answer. Yes, internal referrals or recommendations from your network, they play a hugely important role in Finland. Actually, according to some statistics, 70 to 80% of all open jobs in Finland are filled without them ever being advertised publicly. This means that they are so-called hidden jobs, meaning that companies never advertise these. So they basically try to fill the jobs internally, either from using their already existing people or their connections. So absolutely, referrals and your networks play a massive role. So this is why I recommend everyone to start networking the second that you come to Finland. This is a good start. We're already networking here, but of course I'm in the field of business, so I cannot give referrals to the IT sector. However, the second that you arrive to Finland, start getting to know people on a personal as well as professional level, and that will help you so much when you actually apply for jobs. Bovia, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Awesome to have you here as well. Let's see, what else do we have here? Yevgenia saying that I left for some time, and when I came back, I saw this, Oliver eating with all of his face. Yeah, sorry about that. I cannot do anything about it. It's Jet is going crazy with the super stickers. Yeah. So Eric is actually asking in the chat. That's crazy. Almost 80% of the jobs are hidden. That is true according to some sources. There are some industry sources from the recruitment field that talk about this. There's also some research that has been done, questionnaires for companies. Of course, this will depend on the field, but this gives you an idea of the importance of internal referrals and your network when it comes to job hunting. Of course, there are plenty of jobs that you can find without any kind of referrals or recommendations. Oh, my hair is going all over the place. However, this just speaks to the volume of jobs that are filled internally in companies. As an example, this is not to brag. This is just to give you an example and some context. During the last 4 years, I have not applied to a single job because all of the jobs that I've actually gotten have come through recommendations. So I have actually been recommended to each of my jobs during the last 5 or 6 years. So ever since I did my bachelor's, I've been recommended to different jobs, and that's why I haven't written a single job application in around 6 years. So, I think that also speaks something. And how I did this of course, I cannot know the exact reasons why people recommended me, but the thing that really helped me, in my opinion as well, at least, is I have been extremely active in the local student community, volunteering in different student clubs and organizations. For example, working in the board of multiple student clubs, like, for example, in the local student skydiving club, which is really cool. And kind of through these activities, I've grown my personal and professional networks so that I know a lot of people from different fields, not just from business, but engineering, IT, design, etc. And this has helped me so much. So definitely recommend it. Cool. All right. The next question comes. I'm sorry. Before we jump into the next question, Jet Gotti comes once again with the super sticker, and this one is dollar signs. Just a second. Actually, for some reason, I found a 20-cent coin, so euros, 20-cent coin. On the ground just a couple of days ago, and I've kept it at the office for some reason. Now I know why. So I'm not sure if this is hygienic because I found this on the floor, but there you go. Thank you very much for the super chat. It's highly appreciated. And now I have to disinfect my face and my eye so that it doesn't get, all swollen and such. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Hopefully you're having fun on my behalf. Anyhow, the next question comes from someone who says, please refer to me as Annan. I will. Annan, The next question comes from Anan from Turkey, who is still in high school, but is interested in doing a bachelor's in engineering at any of the following universities: Oulu, Helsinki, Lut, Tampere, or Turku. Cool. All right. The question is, hello, sorry in advance if you don't have knowledge on this topic. Please don't apologize. This is the reason why we are here. I'm answering your questions, regardless of my prior experience. I'll do my best. I'm interested in studying engineering in English in Finland. I have a single school preference, which is the school must be in the top 500 world rankings, and those listed above is the one that I know. Right, I'm sorry. So the only preference or the only requirement for the school is that it has to be in the top 500 world rankings. And the universities of Oulu, Helsinki, Lut, Tampere, and Turku all fit, within that ranking. I wonder, how can I learn approximately with what kind of an SAT scores those schools accept people? I know they have a minimum limit for applications, but I naturally assume that the actual scores that gets admitted are way higher. Also a small, so you know that there's a minimum limit for the SAT score in order to get admitted. However, the actual scores that people need in order to get admitted is higher. That's actually true, yeah. Also, small second question. I saw that Oulu only accepts 8 people in their English bachelor's program. How can I confirm that's true? That's actually a good question. Let's take the second question first. I'm not sure if that's true. If that comes from the university itself, then that's true. So make sure that you actually look for the information from the source itself. Don't look for this information from any kind of forums or stupid YouTubers like me, because we don't have the up-to-date information, because all of this information, all the numbers especially, they change every single year. And the only people who have the actual numbers are the universities themselves. So if you want to check whether or not it's true that the University of Oulu only takes 8 people into their English taught bachelor's program in engineering, please send them an email. I think it should be, actually, I'll just pull it out for you. All right, so just Google University of Oulu admission contact, and you can find the admissions contact page. And all right, so they actually ask you to make an inquiry through the contact form, so they don't have a direct email. Please don't send an email to this university account, because they will most likely not answer you that quickly. Actually, send question through this form. For example, they have a list of programs, so that they can actually direct the question to the correct person. So contact them through here, and they will be able to give you the absolute correct answer here. Anyways, to your question about the SATs. So yeah, the problem with the SAT scores is, as you mentioned, every university has a minimum score. They publicize the minimum score that you need in order to get admitted. However, the problem is that, as you mentioned, that minimum score is the absolute minimum score on paper that you have to get even to be considered. However, you have to take into account that there's only a limited amount of people who are accepted each year, and because the level of applicants, the quality of applicants changes from year to year, that also means that the minimum actual realistic minimum score, SAT score, fluctuates each year as well. And this is where the problem lies, and this is where I actually have to say that I don't know where to find information on the actual SAT scores. First of all, universities are not by law allowed to give you any information on this, except the information that they have publicized on their website. This is because the government is financing the universities, and the government is extremely strict, especially the Finnish Ministry of Education is extremely strict on making sure that no applicant, no matter their background, is favored. This means that every single applicant has to have access to the same information in terms of the applications or admission. So this is why this is really difficult for me to say, and I cannot say for sure what's the minimum score. But what I would say, as you mentioned here, you should aim way higher than the minimum score that they actually list on the website. So what I would do is I would use the minimum score as a benchmark. So if you, for some reason, when you try your SATs on your own time, if you go below the minimum points, you know that you need to learn, or you need to study a lot to get a much higher. Also, if you get just above the minimum score, you still need to study quite a bit. So I think that that's the only thing that I can actually say here, that use the minimum score as a benchmark for you to understand how much you still need to study for the SATs. However, there's no way for me to say for sure what is the actual annual or the actual minimum requirements for each year. That's just, Orange Machine is saying, yeah, Aalto publishes every year the lowest accepted scores for the past year. That is absolutely true, and this is actually what we have been talking here. However, the problem is that those only apply. Actually, Orange Machine even said more, and they are actually way higher than the minimum. That's actually a good point. So I did not remember this. Thanks for reminding me. So Orange Machine is actually true here. Some universities like Aalto do publish their like minimum scores and then their minimum accepted scores. However, again, you have to take into account that those will fluctuate. The actual minimum scores will fluctuate. So actually kind of building on my previous point, you could actually use the previous year's actual minimum score as the better benchmark. So try to get higher than that. But that's everything that I can say here. Again, there's no information more than this. Thank you for the comment. It's actually really valuable. I did not remember it. Cool. The next question comes from Gary from China, and Gary, who has been here before, has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in doing a PhD in public health, and perhaps at the University of Helsinki. And the question is, hi, would you please tell me if there are any online repositories where I can find the master's and or PhD dissertations for Finnish graduates so that I can run through some of them to judge if I'm academically competent to apply? Great question. Actually, are there any public repositories? That's a really good question. I'm actually not aware. Most likely not. So you could always try to use Google Scholar for this. The thing is that most of the articles actually, or most of the thesis articles are actually saved on the university servers, and you can only access some of the all right. First of all, you can, when you submit your thesis, for example, in my case, in a couple of weeks, I actually can choose whether or not I want them to be publicized online at all. If I don't want them to be publicized, then there's going to only be a physical copy in the university archives. Secondly, if they are publicized online, they're usually only publicized, especially talking about master's thesis, they're only publicized on the university servers, so that only university students with proper accounts are able to access them. Because these are not academic publications that are public, so there's a difference. However, I'm not sure if this works the same way for PhD dissertations, because of course, PhD is quite a bit different from masters. So, really good question. What I would recommend you to do is actually contact the University of Helsinki directly about this and ask them whether you could actually access some of the more recent PhD dissertations there. I think that Google Scholar is way too broad. It might be really, really difficult to find anything there, even if you know how to use Boolean search really well, because you would need to know exactly what you're looking for. So I would say that contact the university directly and ask them, because they might be able to give you some links. I'm personally not aware of any kind of open repositories that are open for anyone. They're just open for university students. So Great question, by the way. Never heard of this question before. Really interesting. The next question. Oh, actually, never mind. First, Lillian saying thanks for all of your insightful opinions. Sorry for posting same questions again at in the Google form. Please ignore it. Don't worry about it. That happens all the time. It's no problem at all. And second, you're of course welcome. Hopefully this is giving you some value and giving you some valuable context. By the way, guys, having said that, I need to grab a really quick drink because my throat is getting quite dry. While I'm having a drink, please, we are currently at 39 likes, so it would be awesome to get to 45 or even 50 before the end of the stream. So if you could please gently tap the like button or hopefully even smash it, so that we could actually get a bit higher with the likes. That tells YouTube that this stream is actually bringing you some value, and it will bump it a bit in the algorithm. Awesome. Drink. Nice. All right. Awesome. The next question in the form comes from Harry, again from Hong Kong. And Harry is asking about being a YouTuber. Interesting. So talking about YouTubers, is it common for a YouTuber in Finland to register as a company or to have a company registered? Harry is referring to a very specific type of company. There's no point of going through this individually. So is it common to register as a company, or is it not needed to do so actually? Good question. So if you the general answer here is that if you have any income from being a YouTuber, you need to pay taxes for that income. You can do this either as a private person. However, you have to take into account. You can do this either as a private person or as a company. You have to take into account that taxation is usually a bit lighter for corporations or companies. And the good thing is that if you have a company, when you buy, different kind of stuff, like for example, when you buy a phone, when you buy a camera, when you buy a microphone, you can actually deduct these from your taxes. So there's actually a lot of financial benefits of having a company if you are a YouTuber or if you do anything else like professionally. Again, if you have income coming in. However, if you have no income or if you have just a bit of income coming from Google Ads, I would not register a company for that. I don't think it's worth the effort, because you still you have to do your accounting. You have to do a lot of different things for the company, bureaucratic stuff, paperwork. So if you have just very little income, then I don't think it's necessary, or it's not worth it. However, if you have any, even mediocre income coming in, or if you want to do income or do this even part-time and actually make money out of it, then yeah, definitely get a company registered. Specifically to your question, Toiminimi is a good company type for being a YouTuber. I'm actually using that company type right now. I'm going to upgrade that to an LTD, osakeyhtiö, or OY LTD in Finnish at a later date. Yeah, of course. Gary saying thank you. That's very helpful. You're most welcome. Cool. The next question comes from Noah from England, and Noah is still in high school, but is interested in doing a bachelor's in sports/maritime management at the Novia University of Applied Sciences, Haaga-Helia University of Applied Sciences, or Humak University of Applied Sciences. And the question is, do you know anybody who is studying maritime management in a Finnish university? If not, do you have any advice on this? Interesting question. Unfortunately, I do not know anyone who studies maritime management in Finland or abroad. Most of my friends come from business backgrounds or engineering backgrounds. So unfortunately, I don't have anyone to point towards to. If you want advice on the actual application or, for example, future career development from after you have done this degree, I actually recommend that you contact one of these schools directly and ask for some advice from them, from their admission offices. I think that's a good way to start. And in addition, I would also ask them for more sources, for more income, for more information, because the admission services in these schools are not able to, give you hours and hours and hours of their time. So you could, for example, ask them via email about good sources of information for these fields. So I think that would be a really good way to go. Sorry for not being able to help you any more specifically here. The next question from the forum comes from Savidu, who comes from Sri Lanka. And Savidu is starting school this semester, nice, at doing a master's in computer sciences. Nice. The question is, do international master students find it difficult to manage their expenses working part-time? For example, I have a bachelor's degree in software engineering. Great question. In your case, since you have a bachelor's in software engineering, I think you're going to have a bit of a easier time than everyone else. What I would do is I would start looking for jobs the second that you come to Finland, not before, because no one is going to hire you before you actually are physically in Finland. But start looking for jobs the second that you actually come to Finland. On my channel, I actually have a couple of videos already on where to look for jobs and where to find jobs as a student, part-time jobs. So if you just go to the channel, I can actually show you. Go after the live stream, of course, go to the channel and go to the channel page and go down, 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 down. And here I have a playlist about working in Finland as an international student. I have, for example, this video, how to find part-time jobs for international students in Finland, 15 tips. So that video is about 15 different sources from where you can actually find or look for part-time jobs in Finland as a student. So check out the entire playlist and you understand more about working in Finland, managing your expenses. And for example, in your case, these two videos apply to you as well. How much can you work in Finland as an international student? Really important to know. There are some restrictions since you are not a European Union citizen. In addition, I talk about average salary. So, for example, in your case, I have a couple of tools that I recommend for assessing your salary as a software developer. These tools are great, especially at the time when you start negotiating for your salary in a company, so that you're not cheated. And then we have, for example, I think we had, basically here in this video, I explained that no, you're not able to pay for your, tuition as well as your living expenses with part-time work, but I go into quite a lot of detail here. So I think that this could be useful for you as well. So check those for more information. But I would say that in the field of software development or engineering, especially since you already have a bachelor's, it's going to be more easy for you than everyone else because we have such a high demand for talented software developers. So then Yevgeny has a question in the chat. Oliver, what is an appropriate entrepreneurship form for a remote or freelance developer? If you actually do full-time work, there are multiple different company types in Finland as anywhere else. You have toiminimi, which is like personal. I don't know actually what it's in English. Let's see if I can actually find it. Sole trader or trade name, sole proprietor is toiminimi. It's the most basic one. That I would not recommend because it's a bit quirky in terms of your kind of legal and accounting perspectives. So if you do good money, I would recommend you actually registering an LTD, so limited liability company. This is because then in that case you are not liable, for example, for the finances personally. So if, for example, if the company goes bankrupt, you do not have to guarantee the company with your own finances. However, if you are a sole proprietor, you're liable for all of the finances of the company, personally. So for example, if you have any company loans for the sole proprietor company and you default those loans, then you have to actually pay for them, personally. So by the way, this is not financial advice. This is just my experience. So just take this into account. But yeah, if you are actually going to work, full time, especially as a software developer, you can actually do quite a lot of money. I would do limited liability company for taxation reasons, accounting reasons, and then the liability reasons as well. So legal reasons as well. Cool. By the way, if you do that, get a good accountant, hands-on. On day one, hire a good accountant. First of all, of course, since you're not from Finland, you're not familiar with the Finnish accounting system. Plus, you don't most likely know how to fill all the accounting information, actually do your books. So hire a good accountant. It's not that expensive, especially if you get work as a software developer. You can easily afford paying an accountant. So that's one thing to consider. Cool. The next question comes from Gaspar, I think, because that's from Belgium. Gaspar, no, sorry, man. Gaspar, who's from Belgium. And Gaspar has decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in doing a master's in biology at the University of Tampere, Aalto, Turku, or Lappeenranta. First of all, I can already say here that there is no master's program in biology at Aalto University. So just take that into account. There's, for example, the University of Helsinki, University of Eastern Finland are great choices. My brother has done his master's and he's doing his doctoral studies in biology at the University of Eastern Finland, and he has been very happy. But yeah, Aalto University is not an option for you because they don't have a faculty of biology. So take that into account. The question, can it be possible to study in a Finnish university after many gap years working between bachelor's degree and a master's degree? What would be the specific requirements? The gap, there's no impact whatsoever on a gap year or multiple gap years on your application. There's no impact unless you have been sitting on your butt for 5 years and haven't done anything with your life. Then that might have impact. But if you have been working during your bachelor's or between your bachelor's and the application for master's, or for example, if you have been volunteering or traveling around the world, whatever, it will have absolutely no difference. And I would not take that into account at all. So again, I have no experience in processing university applications. So, disclaimer, this is not 100% fact. However, I have plenty of friends from business school who came to study either their bachelor's or master's when they were 30, 35, 40 even. For example, a couple of friends of mine started to study their bachelor's when they were 30 and 35. And one of them had a background in as a bartender. Absolutely no difference whatsoever in terms of having a chance to study in Finland. What is more important is you personally, your kind of academic aptitude, as well as your, for example, prior degree, and whether it makes you eligible to actually apply for a degree in biology. So if you have, for example, a bachelor's degree in software development, you will not be eligible to apply for a master's in biology, but I would guess that you already have a bachelor's in biology or something similar, so that should be fine. Cool. All right. Then the next question comes from Hari, who comes from India. And Hari is starting school this semester and specifically studying cybersecurity and cloud computing. Nice. Let's see. And the school is Seklo. Let's see. Seklo. What is the school of Seklo? That's interesting. I haven't heard of this. Master's program in security and cloud computing. All right. So is that at Aalto University? Yeah, that's actually at Aalto University. All right, cool, nice. So Harry is doing a degree in cybersecurity and cloud computing at Aalto University. Nice. And the question is work visas after studies, part-time jobs, living expenses. Really broad topics. I have videos about living expenses on the channel already. I would recommend that you check them out after the stream. So if you go to my channel, once again, I will show you. On my channel, if you go to on the channel page, just come to this playlist, Study in Finland, and here, this video. Oops, excuse me. How much does it cost to live in Finland as a student? I actually calculate the monthly living costs in Excel, so I go into a lot of detail about how much on average it costs, or for example, how much would it cost for me to live in Finland as a student. So check this out for living expenses. About work visas, after you graduate from Finland, from a Finnish university, you are allowed to apply for a residence permit for work. So if you go to the Finnish Immigration Services website and go to Studying Finland, and then after graduation here, you can then see that if you have either studied or completed a degree in Finland or completed your research in Finland, you can apply for the following permits. When you have found a job, you can apply for a residence permit for work on the basis of a degree completed in Finland. This basically means that if you already have a job before you graduate, then you can apply for a residence permit to work. And as long as you don't have any reason, unless the Finnish Immigration Service has a hefty reason to kick you out, you will most likely be granted that residence permit. I can never promise this, but it's usually how this goes. However, if you have not yet found a job before you graduate, then you can apply for a residence permit to look for work or to start a business. And this residence permit is valid for 1 year. So you basically, after graduation, you can basically look for a job for 1 year. And if you find a job within that 1 year, then you can then apply for the residence permit to work. Which is then, I don't remember how long that is, but you can check it here from as well. So yeah, that's for the second question. And then the third question was part-time jobs. I have multiple videos on the channel about part-time jobs. Depends on your field, depends on the jobs you're applying for, depends on your personal background, your experience, etc. For example, in your case, studying cybersecurity and cloud computing, these are extremely sought after fields, or this field is growing like, and there's only a very small amount of people who actually know how to do this stuff. So the second that you actually come to Finland, start looking for jobs in these fields. One company that I could recommend for you to check out is, let me see. I have to check this. Let's see. Just a second. I don't remember the name of the company. They changed the name. Never mind. I cannot remember the name. But for example, the company that provides game security or game anti-hacking software for Epic Games, so the games behind the company behind Fortnite, it's actually from Finland. So there's a lot of really interesting companies in this field that come from Finland. One of the more obvious ones is actually that I can recommend to you is F-Secure, which is one of the leading, cybersecurity companies in the world. A Finnish company, really big company. It's publicly traded, so definitely recommend. Definitely recommend that you look for their different jobs. They are a global company. They hire a lot of international talent as well. And as I mentioned, the field of security and cybersecurity and cloud computing is a rare field. So you should, if you are really good at what you do, you will have no problem at finding a job. Disclaimer, if you know what you're doing. So the next question comes from Raihan Ahmed, who comes from Bangladesh and is applying to do a master's in the fine arts at Aalto University. Nice. That's cool. Fine arts. Nice. And the question is, which school is best for studying animation game design in Finland? Is there any scholarships available for non-European Union students? Aalto University is absolutely the best school to study any kind of design related topics. Aalto University is one of the leading arts and design universities in the world, actually. It's ranked extremely high in the world. And, specifically animation and game design, I'm pretty sure that you can actually major in one of those topics. However, of course, you don't necessarily have to study game design in order to become a game designer. You can basically just, for example, study 3D design or character design or whatever. And then if you want to, through your hobbies, learn how to actually do character design for games, so 3D design for games, so that you actually learn how to incorporate your designs into a game development pipeline, that should do it as well. So you don't necessarily have to have a degree specifically in game design. But yeah, Aalto University School of Arts and Design, absolutely the best school for design, any kind of design topics. It's one of the leading schools in the world. So definitely recommend it. It's not easy to get in. It's really, really difficult to get in because it's such a sought after school, but it's highly, highly recommended. So let's see, of arts, game design. Let's actually see if they have, I think they actually might have a, yeah, actually, this might be relevant for you. So actually they have a master's program in new media, game design and production. So game design and production is a multidisciplinary major that offers a unique mix of technical and artistic aspects of game development. So yeah, definitely, you should check this out. So just Google Aalto University. Come on. There you go. Just Google Aalto University School of Arts and Design and Architecture, Game Design, and it should be the first link right here. Highly recommended. Should be really, really awesome. Cool. Cool. The next question from the forum comes from Raihan Ahmed, who comes from Bangladesh. Sorry, this was the earlier question, so never mind. The next question actually comes from Mikatsuiki, who comes from the Philippines. And Mikatsuiki has not yet decided whether or not she wants to study in Finland, but is interested in doing a bachelor's in pre-med, specific biomedical engineering. That's really cool. That's awesome. The question actually is, which school is best for studying biomedical engineering or pre-med? Interesting. I have to say that I have no idea. Let's see. Let's actually do a really quick Google search. Bachelor's in Finland, biomedical engineering. Let's see. Tony. Is this a bachelor's or a master's? That's a master's degree, never mind. It might be that these are only master's degrees and then you need to do a more general engineering bachelor's in order to actually apply for a master's. Again, here you have to take into account that if you want to study biomedical engineering, it might not work if you just search Google with biomedical engineering bachelor's Finland, because many of the bachelor's programs that you might be eligible to apply for or that might be relevant might actually not be named biomedical engineering, rather they might be something else. So what I recommend you to do is to, for example, contact the University of Oulu as well as the University of Tampere and their admission services, both schools, and actually ask that, or tell them that you're interested in doing a master's in biomedical sciences and engineering, and ask them which bachelor's program would be good for you if you want to pursue this as a career. I think this is the best way for you to go forward because this is such a specific field that it might be a bit difficult to find anything on Google. Cool. Hopefully that at least gave you some context at least. All right, the next question comes from Nedim Muninovic. Nedim Muninovic. Hopefully I pronounced your last name correctly. Muminovic. Nedim Muminovic. Awesome. And Nedim comes from Serbia. Nice. Awesome. Cool to have. It's so cool to have people from around the world actually joining the stream. The only country that I'm kind of waiting for is New Zealand and maybe Australia. They're so far away that I think that the time difference is just way too much. Anyways, the Nedim is still in high school and is interested in doing a degree in computer sciences. And the question is, so if I want my major of study to be computer sciences, should I apply to University of Applied Sciences or a normal university? Great question. So this depends on what do you want to do after your bachelor's degree. If you want to pursue a master's degree or a PhD degree at a PhD at some point in your life, then I recommend that you apply for a university. However, if you don't care about doing a master's degree, then you should apply for a University of Applied Sciences. The reason here is that when you are admitted to study at a university, to study a bachelor's degree at a university, you're also automatically admitted to continue your studies to a master's after you have graduated from your bachelor's degree. However, if you study a bachelor's at a University of Applied Sciences, there's limitations on where you can actually apply to do your master's, and you need to first accrue X amount of work experience in your field before you can actually apply to do a master's. So this is kind of number one. Second thing is that even though computer sciences is the fastest growing field in Finland and globally as well, and a lot of people say that you don't really need a degree to work in computer sciences because you can learn so much online. I do agree on this argument to some extent, because it is true that you can actually do quite well without having an official degree. However, you have to be really, really darn good at what you do if you want to get a job without having a degree, because of course a degree is always a good positive sign when you apply for work, because when recruiters are looking through CVs, they spend 30 seconds on a CV, and if they notice that okay, you don't have a degree, discard. They might actually throw your CV out right away. So kind of getting through that first filter is of course important, and a degree helps there quite a lot. Third reason for doing so this is why I recommend you to do a degree, first of all. However, why I actually recommend that you should do a master's is computer sciences is going to grow as a field like a rocket in the coming years. This means that there's going to be more and more competition on the good jobs and the high salaries. And if you want to be on the top of creme de la creme, the top of the top, then you should definitely do a higher degree, because that is always going to open more doors, and you're also going to learn a lot of really good techniques that you can then implement in work that you do not learn while you do your bachelor's. So I think this is my opinion, my personal opinion. However, if you want to only pursue a bachelor's, that is completely fine as well. In the field of computer sciences, you can do really well with just a bachelor's. But my opinion is that a master's is going to open more doors in the future. My opinion. Cool. The next question comes from Swati Adhikari, who comes from Nepal, and Swati is applying to do a master's in dentistry. Nice. In the next application period. And the question is, would like to get some information about working as a dentist in Finland and also getting a master's degree in the industry. I have 1.5 years of experience working as a dentist in Nepal. So this is a really good question. Unfortunately, of course, this is a very specific field. So, and it's also in the medical field, which is heavily regulated. So I would prefer not to give any concrete answers here because I'm not familiar with the field. and anything that I say is going to be a guess, and it might lead you off. However, what I would recommend you to do is to go to the Finnish Dental Association's website. And from this website, unfortunately, again, it's mostly in Finnish. What you could do is you could look at the Finnish version and then translate the entire page using Google Translate. However, my recommendation is that you go to the page, the English-speaking page, and then from the contact information here, or preferably using the email, send them an email and ask your specific questions, because they are able to give you specific answers about the requirements to work, different certifications, the different schools that teach dentistry, etc. So I would go directly to the source to get as precise information as possible, and the Finnish Dentistry Association is the right way or right place to go to. Yevgenia is actually contributing to the discussion quite well, considering the jobs in the IT industry. So basically saying here, by the way, we recently had a discussion on this topic. Not everyone can become a world-class YouTuber or a ballet dancer, but a medium-level engineer can be in much higher demand in terms of salary. That is true. Software developers, computer scientists are in a huge demand right now, and the demand is not going to go down anytime soon. Not everyone can do world-class jobs, but we do need a lot of nurses, teachers, engineers, and so on. And being medium type is more normal than outstanding. So that's true. Yevgeny also saying that the most important thing is that you do your job well. Absolutely true. I do agree. Just a second. I'm gonna actually change the battery on the camera. Sorry. Come on. There you go. Excuse me, guys. Just a moment. The screen is going to go black it's going to be black for just a second. There you go. Sorry about that. The streams are becoming so long that my batteries don't last through one stream. So interesting. Anyways, the next question comes from George Kaimakis, who comes from the UK. And George has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in doing a degree in computer networking, IT, or systems administration. Nice. Definitely good field to do a degree in. The question is, I am a mature 55 years old person retraining in a new field. Cool. That's actually really nice. I highly encourage anyone who wants to change their field, no matter their age, to pursue IT and software engineering. It's definitely recommended. Are there likely to be more difficulties for mature persons looking to both breaking into a new field and as a newcomer looking for work and live in Finland? Great question, George. This is such an important topic. I could actually talk about this for quite a while. There are, to be quite honest, there are some research papers. Of course, citation needed. I don't remember them. I have seen sources that unfortunately give us an idea that the older you are, the more difficult it is to retrain or breaking into a new field, as you put it. However, what I would say is that if you are able to retrain yourself into the field of computer sciences, computer networking, IT, system admin, as you mentioned, there is a absolutely massive demand of people, talented people in these fields in Finland. To give you an example, 2.5 years ago, there was a news article from the Finnish news broadcasting company Yle, which again, 2.5 years ago, they mentioned that Finland has an immediate need for 10,000 software developers. And that was 2.5 years ago, and that demand has been growing by the thousands per year. And there's actually a new what is this? Blacking out. There's a new forecast from a government-run think tank, which estimated that we're going to have a demand of 50,000 software developers by the year 2025. So in just a couple of years. So you can see the volume of the problem that we are having in Finland. The reason for this massive problem is that the universities in Finland are simply not able to keep up and produce enough talented people into these fields right now. And the universities are not developing fast enough to compensate to this problem within just a couple of years. So there's definitely demand for people in this field. And also what I would say, again, this is my opinion, I don't have experience in recruiting, recruiting myself, so please take everything that I say with a grain of salt. However, I would say that if you were to retrain yourself into one field as you put it, quote unquote, mature person, should not matter. In my opinion, age should not matter at all. Only your skills should matter. Regardless, if there's one field where you should be able to successfully retrain yourself and to actually get into the job market, that is IT. Simply because there's such a huge demand, and the tasks don't require a certain age; they only require certain skills. So I don't know even why I said that. That's kind of non-relevant. But anyways, I hope that you get what my point. So yes, it's going to be a struggle to retrain yourself. It's going to take some time. But as long as you are able to get yourself to a proficient level in a speciality that is in high demand, then I don't think you should have any problems. Plus, there's no language requirement in most of the IT jobs, so you should be just fine with English. So. Cool. We have a bunch of questions left in the form, but I think we have already gone for 2.5 hours, so I think that this would be a great time to end today's stream. We're actually at 49 likes right now, so if you guys are getting any value out of this stream, I would really, really appreciate if you could just tap the like button so that we could actually get over the hump and get to 50 likes on this stream. That would help a lot. Also, I just want to thank every one of you for the excellent questions that you've left in the Google form today. A lot of really, really interesting topics that I have never actually even thought of. So thank you very much. Hopefully you got some value out of the stream. And of course, again, if you are getting value from these live streams and from the content on the channel as well, or in general, I would really, really appreciate it if you would consider joining as a channel member. Of course, this is not something that I require, and if you're not able to, or if you don't want to, that's completely fine. But if you are getting value of what I'm doing here, it would mean the world to me if you would consider joining as a channel member. You can either click the join button on the channel page or just below the video there. And by clicking the join button, you can actually see the different 4 channel membership levels that we have here, and all the different perks that come with being a channel member. But again, if you don't want to, if you cannot do that for some reason, that's completely fine. I still appreciate for you guys hanging out and allowing me to do this as a job. This is awesome. But yeah, cool. Hopefully you guys got some value out of this. Apologies for everyone who didn't get their questions answered today. There's still around 10 questions left in the form. But I will start with those questions next week. So if you want to have your question answered live, please join us early next week, 5:30 p.m. Eastern European time, and I will start with the questions that were left behind from this week. Cool. All right. By the way, Rishi Keshari, thank you so much for the final super sticker. That is so much appreciated. I really need to get myself a unicorn to the office so that I can actually do the something with it. I have no idea how to become a unicorn, especially right at the end of the stream. That would take a lot of effort. But I do appreciate it. Thank you so much for the super sticker. It's highly appreciated. Anyways, thank you so much for everyone joining us. Thanks so much for Jet for making fun of me with his super stickers. It was actually quite a lot of fun. And I will see you with the next videos and then in the next live stream a week from now. All right. Thank you so much. Later.